They've now beaten Essendon and they are in the 8 with a month of football to go, and Leon Cameron knows just how important that is.
And just like that,
Eddie.
we're out of the 8.
Oh, God, it was painful listening to Eddie commentate. So it feels like the last 2 or 3 weeks I've watched one of our games. It's been Eddie commentating. Really, it adds to the pain.
Welcome back to the, what are we called? Sam and Nath Footy Pod. It's not going to be an overly happy one. And
I'm sure everyone out there is feeling our pain.
Possibly some things that might not be popular, or for me at least. But anyway, we'll get into
what it's all about sometimes.
We lose by 13 points in a pretty dismal second half performance. 1 goal to 6 or 7 after half time.
1 goal 7, Sam, to 6 goals 6, which is disgusting. Disgusting.
The emphasis on disgusting.
That's crap football. That's 1 goal 7.5 for football. 6. Oh.
Yeah.
Anyway,
let's talk sort of team as a whole, and then
we'll start with the positives.
We might get into some individuals. So, it just feels like a drain, really. Inside 50s were even. We got the ball in there. I actually thought we were a bit better going inside 50.
Agree. I thought we actually kicked it to lead up forwards.
I would be interested to know Mark's inside 50.
Yeah, I reckon that'd be all right. I reckon there was a few times the commentators might have said we were leading that. But I thought that was probably not a highlight, but we actually kicked it to forwards that were leading up. There were a few times even Hooker led up the ground and led at the ball, and Smith and a few others. So that for once wasn't. It's just the quality of finish. Like to kick 7 goals 11. I mean, they kicked 9 goals 12, which is not much better. But the last, I reckon, 3 or 4 weeks, I'm sure we've kicked a lot more points than goals. And I really thought we were past that because we got rid of damn Joe Danaher, like our biggest issue in front of goal, and we picked up Peter, who is normally very reliable, right? And he had a bit of an ordinary day in front of the sticks.
Yeah. You give him out a rap, he lets you down every time. We were quite complimentary, rightfully so, of right last week. And yeah, he was disappointing. And kickable shots, at least 2 of them. I know his third shot right at the end was rushed, and okay, let that one go.
And Hooker's 2 misses, like his 1 goal was a gimme, like it was not a gimme, but he got over the back and going in the goal. But the other 2 set shots, like he's got to, like he doesn't have much of an impact in the game as it is. So he's got to really nail them. Like he wasn't a long way out in either one of them.
Yeah. Sorry, I just marked.
I think it was Smith. Did he kick one short? Like one of his set shots didn't even make the distance. Or was it someone that had a set shot and it didn't even make the distance? That was annoying too.
Cutler, it was Cutler had one.
Cutler.
Yeah. Which for a guy whose biggest asset is his kicking. Disappointing. Mark's inside 50. We won 13-12.
That's just.
I just want to go back to maybe last week and have a look.
Yep.
At what we did.
Do you want me to fill? Because I could fill.
No, I'm nearly there. It's all right. I swear this stat doesn't load straight away. That makes me look stupid.
I could have filled.
You could have filled. We're there now. It's okay. We had 13 last week, so it's actually not that much. Or the same, in fact.
So around 12 or 13 for how many inside 50s?
Yesterday, 43, I think it was.
Yep.
Yeah, 43. Regardless of marks inside 50, I guess there's a bit more direction about that at least, and we got him on the rebound early. 1 goal in particular stands out where we got it off half-back, got it all the way down with a couple of kicks straight down the middle, and went to Archie Perkins, who ran into an open goal. That is the football we want to play.
Yep.
In an absolute nutshell. And then from there, it really went downhill. They ended up doing to us what we would have ideally liked doing to them, and that is that kick mark back into the middle and then get it forward. We didn't really offer a whole lot of resistance to that.
Nope. I thought I thought in that our midfield really lost the battle in that way too, because it allowed them to get first use of the ball to the outside, and how they used it once they got outside those contests, they just really chewed us apart, didn't they?
They smashed us. Once the ball was on the ground,
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing us actually win the football.
Yeah.
A lot of
and
times.
that was a concern because the Merritt and Parrish started well in the first quarter.
Yep.
Even Shield was all right. But I think Merritt had 11 touches in the first quarter and went on to only had 27 for the game or so. So, that's not a lot of footy in 3 quarters of foot for, a guy that normally racks 35.
Clearances 8 apiece in the centre, stoppages around the ground. They had us by 3.
I thought
when we won
Draper rucked really well.
Yeah, we did win the hit-outs 33-20. Not a lot of stoppages. It seems quite low.
He just probably got beaten a little bit around the ground, like Mumford getting up and kicking a goal, and he needs to. And this is where his biggest weakness is. He needs to learn how to get forward and kick goals as a big man that he is. He's got good pace. He just needs to learn how to kick the ball properly.
He does do a fair bit dropping back too. I notice him not all the time, but he takes marks in defence, so he does actually work back.
He's back there. He's back there working.
To be fair, it could be just a deliberate ploy because he can't actually kick the football. So maybe we don't want him taking shots at goal, but
it has to be something he gets better at.
Yeah, for sure. But he's offering heaps, and around the contest, he can win his own ball, and he can actually run away from the contest, which is quite amazing for a bloke that big.
Yeah, he's coming along. Very happy with his progress. He's the least of our concerns.
Just another one another stat that's just jumped out at me there. 139 marks to 89.
Yeah, they were on the outside getting the ball.
And that is a good...
Their kicks probably would have been higher than ours too, I reckon.
Well, they averaged 93 marks a game and they got 140.
Wow, that's amazing.
So that too easy is what that says. And, contested marks, they took 17, which again is 6 above their average. I'm noticing this a lot over the last couple of weeks. Teams take marks against us.
Yep. What is that, Sam?
I don't know why that is, and that's just around the ground. That's not even a defensive thing.
What would lead them to taking more marks? I wonder.
Well, maybe we're just a bit... Well, marks in general is we're not working hard enough.
Yep, agree.
Contested marks is positioning or just strength, really. Kicks to handballs, so they had 244 kicks to 130 handballs. We had 190 kicks to 124 handballs, so much closer on that kick to handball ratio than what we probably want as well. Although we do tend to handball a lot, so that might be something we're trying to get better at. That being said, anything else on the game in general before we move on to some
individuals,
which will be the juicy, meaty part of this?
I think for me, it just I reiterate. I thought we were good without being great in the first half. Like there were, probably not the whole first half, but there were moments of that where we played some good footy. The very start was good. There were moments late in the second quarter where we were good. Just and we were 20 points up at halftime. What was it?
Nah,
sort of,
it wasn't that much.
What was it? It was 18 or something.
I'll check. You keep going. I'll check that.
I guess, and then what I'm saying is that to then just produce what we did for that second half was
16 points.
16 points. Yeah, so 16 points up at halftime, and then just to come out with, I can't think of a good bit of play in the second half. There was no moment where we went, oh, here we go. Yeah, we're back in it. We just looked like we're holding on, and they were probably peppering. Like they kicked 6-6. They could have easily kicked, 8-4, or even more, and really blew it out of the water.
Yeah.
I don't know. It didn't feel like we were coming back.
No, and you did say that we've kicked 1 goal in a quarter and a half, and we need 2 goals to win the game, and it was just never likely.
Yep.
Players, positives or negatives? Let's go to positives first.
Yeah, definitely.
Nick Cox had one of
Nick
his
Cox had a great
better
game.
games for me. 15 touches, kicked a goal, just looked, he was there, took some nice marks, made some good contests at least if he didn't take the mark, set up Devon Smith for a goal where he was the only one that wanted the footy and kept it in play.
Yeah.
And got us a goal just before half time. He's looked lively again. He had a couple of weeks where he looked pretty flat and didn't look like he was going to be playing the rest of the year. Like he looked like he needed a rest. But
as I said, I thought Draper was quite good.
Drapes was good. Possibly symbolic of the entire team. Perkins was good in the first little bit, and he looked very lively.
He faded away in that.
He did fade.
But he's not neither here nor there. I thought the other one I probably would throw out a special mention to was Sam Durham.
If you're listening.
Durham.
Yep.
I thought again, for a second gamer, he's blue collar, workmanlike, with a touch
in the right spots as well.
Yep.
And first
he's
half,
hard. He
nice
uses the
bump
ball well
on Taranto. I think it was in the middle. Hurt him. Won the ball back. It was clean, and he quickly he won the ball.
Yep.
Body on the line. Love it.
Yeah, and look, it's another kid that you look at and go, well, he's best 22 in 2 games.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere.
He's not going anywhere. He, for me, gets a game every week.
There's
and what
others.
I've seen from him, they find a spot for him, for a player like that. I like what I see.
And the skip was pretty good. 28 touches. Probably wasn't as effective as he would have liked with his disposal.
There was a kick there in the last quarter. We kicked it out of bounds on the full.
Yeah,
resulting in a goal. That was a bit disappointing, but
got plenty of it. I actually, again, maybe more first half liked Laverde's game. Thought he did quite well.
Yep, and Ridley.
Ridley, yeah, always Mr. Pissed Off. Yeah,
Mr. Pissed Off. And you can understand why he's disappointed this week.
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I get the face now. Come on, guys, just be more like me.
Just be better. Yeah. Maybe some I was going to say maybe the ones in the middle, the ones you go, yeah, okay, not too bad, wasn't too great either. Devon Smith probably is in that category for me. He wasn't awful.
Yeah, agree.
Probably earn his spot for next week. Parrish, tough game.
16 touches, kicked a goal. Like,
yeah.
That's I'm not expecting much more from him, to be honest.
Didn't give away a 50. Das had a rough game, but given the form he's had, you can't really hold it against him for one game. As you say, Merritt had 11 in the first quarter, and then maybe not much else after that. 9 after that. It's pretty disappointing.
Did he finish on 20 touches?
Yeah.
Well, that's disappointing.
But these guys, you can't hang them on them because
no, I understand. And look, they've been him and Parrish and a lot of others had really good games, like for most of the year. So there's a bad game always in there.
Yeah.
It's always about how those guys will respond next week in a tough game. But
and they are class, so they will.
I don't think I would have liked to have seen Shield play a VFL game, to be honest.
Yeah, he was probably underdone.
Because Guelphy would have been more useful.
Well, Guelphy would. Yeah, okay, we'll get to that. Shield, I'm not going to bang on too much about either because first game back, he looked like he was a bit sort of nervous or aware of that leg when he was running, or so.
He didn't have an influence in the last quarter or half, I didn't think.
Possibly shouldn't have played.
Yeah.
Either. Yeah, the bad.
Okay. I want to start this one. Who would you like
to start with? Yeah, okay. You're going to steal mine or you got your own?
I don't know.
We'll find out together.
We'll find out. Let's do this together, Sammy. So for me, I'm going to mention a player I love. I want to start that off. Like Anthony McDonald, Tippin Woody.
Yeah, that was mine.
Oh, I've stolen it.
No, it's fine. You go. We'll both have our...
Yeah, so, for me, start of the year, he was averaging, up until the bye round, he was averaging 13 touches, probably about 3 and a bit tackles, and I would have thought easily around a goal or 2 a game. Like, I think he had, how many goals?
27 or 28 to the bye.
27 or 8 to that point. So that's good. That's all we're asking. 13 touches, tackles, and a goal. That's what his role is. Since the bye, he's averaging 7 possessions a game. That's not much. And in this game, he didn't lay a tackle, and he's not averaging a lot since the bye. Again, that's his role, tackle. We're not expecting him to take marks. That's not his. Yep. He's got to get it from pressure acts, and he just didn't perform any pressure acts at all.
And I mean, it was probably better that you opened there because you actually had some stats to back up your point.
Woo!
From last night's
Makes it look
game,
professional, doesn't it,
a
Sam?
little bit. Apart from the fact we had no idea who was going to say what next. But after that bit, last night he had a shot. I think it was first half where it was definitely first half actually, where he took the mark about 30 to 40 out, closest to the boundary, on a snappable angle. But that sort of kick now shouldn't be a hard kick, especially for a man with the skill set of Waller.
Yep.
Take the shot. Instead, he passes it to someone else.
Smith.
Umpire called not 15, which in the forward line was probably a bit rough, but it probably wasn't 15.
It's
so
there and there. Yeah.
GWS rebounded it very easily and kicked a point, but it could have been a goal, obviously. Now, your point to me last night was, if nothing else, in that situation, you give your midfielders and you give your defenders a rest. They're standing in the middle of the ground or setting up their zone, whatever, and they're having a breather.
Yep.
They might be fixing their socks, they might be doing up their shoelaces, whatever. You pass the ball, turn it over, all of a sudden, they're out of position, they're not focused, they're disadvantaged. Whereas at least if you took the shot, kicked the point, by that point, they will be kind of ready for what's coming. So, that's one part of it. The other part of it is that you're a forward, mate. Take the shot.
That's your only job.
Take the shot. When you're inside 50, and like I said, you're a small forward with the skill set better than most, you should be taking that shot for goal.
Mm-hmm.
I was just going to comment on that and the fact that he was sort of jogging around contests, not really putting on a lot of pressure, and that's been symbolic of his last month or so.
Yeah, and I don't know if he's injured, and if he's injured, then that's,
Well, if he's injured, he shouldn't be playing.
Exactly, that was going to be my point. But then that segues, as we love to do, Sam, to the other guy that I can't handle at the moment, and that is another guy I love, Carl Hooker.
Can I just ask you one question on Waller before we do move on?
Yep.
Sorry to ruin your segue.
No, that's good.
Does he keep playing? Assuming he's not injured,
he has to get another game. But if he plays another game like that without a tackle...
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Oh, the other thing is, I guess... I mean, if he was injured in that game because it looked like he was, then he can't drop... I don't believe in dropping players on one game.
It's not. Is it just one game? He's been pretty quiet.
There's been bad form
for a while.
Definitely, yes. The last 2 games he's had 5 touches, and he's laid 2 tackles in those games, and kicked 2 behinds. That's not good football.
No.
So he'd want to pull his finger out of the proverbial soon, because otherwise it becomes time when I start knocking on doors and say, mate,
is he? How do we drop Waller?
I don't know how you do it.
Because
we don't. It's not like Cahill's going to be the guy that's taking his spot, because I watched him in the VFL and he's still rubbish.
Well, you did say there's a young boy, something or other, Hurd.
Oh, actually, Tom Hurd.
Who's not bad.
Tom, you know what Tom Hurd did in the game? He harassed, he tackled, he chased, he was enthusiastic. He's tiny, but geez, he gave 100% commitment. And I love, obviously, massive fan of his father. But I just want to see that. Because this flows me back to Hooker. The thing that drives me mad about Hooker is that he does not chase. He does not care. When he doesn't have the ball, he just stands there, waves his arms around. And when someone plays on from him, he barely trots after them.
Yeah.
Like, there's no pressure going on. Like people have talked about, we need this big guy down in the forward line. What's he doing? Tell me what he does.
There's people and me.
Tells me what he does. Like he attempts to take a mark. I can find another 30 VFL players that can do that. That's not a problem. But I'll tell you what they'll do. They'll chase, they'll hassle, they'll tackle. Like, this is what Durham has brought to the team, and guys like that, they crack in.
Yeah.
Hooker doesn't want to crack in. He doesn't want to try. He doesn't want to hurt himself. He's got stupid legs that don't run properly.
I sense this is a sore point for you.
It's the effort. I can't handle the effort.
Yes. Just on dropping and replacing players. No one's undroppable.
Yeah, cool.
It's difficult with Waller because he's a fan favourite and he's one of my favourites, and
he's my favourite.
He can kick a goal out of nothing, and that's fine. But you got to earn your place in that side, and if there is another bloke, albeit someone who might not be quite as proven as you, pressure on selection is good.
Exactly.
So
He might be just rolling around going, I know who's going to take the spot.
Yeah, do it. Yes, Hooker he started well. He gave me hope. He took some marks, kicked a goal. He was at least, maybe again, first half, was a bit more capable in the air. He took a few marks. He took one on the
led
lead.
up to the ball and marked the ball a few times.
But
it was
then
good.
that was it.
Yeah.
Now,
But if
the interesting part of this is that he's now an extended run of bad form. We sat here a month ago and talked about him getting 1 or 2 more games. Aaron Francis played in the forward line in the VFL.
And just go back before you go any further, just to give the hooker a bit of data. So he had 30 goals by the bye round.
Mhm.
Since the bye round, he's kicked 4.
And that's in 6 or 7 games, I imagine.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, less than a goal a game from your key forward. Not ideal.
No.
So Francis did play forward, and that's interesting from a point of view of him coming back into the side. It's quite possible they might be willing to replace whatever Jones was doing with him, but although he's not as big or as strong as Hooker, he can take a damn good contested mark. He can compete in the air, and he offers a hell of a lot more on the ground. So that will be interesting, because there's a reason he played forward. There has to be a reason he was put in that forward line, not in the back line.
I agree, and I thought it was very interesting that we're having this conversation, and I think it's been a bit of a talking point for us at the moment, especially with Jones out, obviously, and I assume for the year with his foot injury.
Yeah, not a good one.
So are they trialling in that VFL game? Was that their trial to say how Francis can go in that role?
Yeah, and we've seen him be able to take a mark. Like, he's got a good set of hands, and he's a lovely field kick. I don't know, his kicking for goal, I seem to remember, wasn't ideal, but that was 5 years ago. If he has the sort of license just to fly for the ball in the forward line, as they do, and try and mark the football, he doesn't have to really worry about an opponent as a defender does. That could be a great move.
We were talking about the other day, and that we were talking, how do you deal with Hooker and stuff like that? And, Stuart was one of the thoughts we had. Does he go forward? But then, what's the point of all this effort of him going back? And I think that was a valid point. So is it someone like Francis?
Well, I just fact-checked this. Well, I mean, fact-checked by Wikipedia, but still fact-checked. Francis was named...
It's nice to put in this. Sorry.
He was named at centre-half forward in the All-Australian team during the 2015 AFL Under-18 Championships. So he was a forward.
Well, unless it was like that All-Australian when
Pavlich got named at fullback, yeah. I assume he was the forward in that context.
Yeah, let's go with that.
So, I would be excited to see that, just even from just a marking point of view. He's got a good set of hands and can take a mark. So
I'd be excited to see it from just I think a lot of things have worked for us this year, and that's been like Laverde going back, Heppel going on, a lot of guys going back, I guess, mostly. So it'd be nice to see one of those go forward, and that also work.
Well, and it could be an eye to the future, saying, all right, Hooker's now really unlikely to go on next year, you would think. So I'm not
saying that. I was saying they might keep Hooker, but it might be like for 10 games.
Yeah, well, we've talked about that, I think.
Yeah.
But it might be an eye to the future to say, righto, Franger, your place in this side. The back six is pretty set. I still think Francis might be an improvement in the back line, but the back six is pretty good at the minute.
Red Dog needs to pull his finger out. He's been a bit ordinary in the last few weeks.
Kept GWS, even though they won, it was a low scoring game, so I guess there's some sort of a tick there for the back line. Kept Adelaide to the lowest score. Like, they've got a bit of form, so if Francis can go into that side as a forward, we'll see. Wouldn't be surprised if we're sitting here talking about that on Thursday night. So they were the
Any other players you want to?
They were the two main ones. I think Cutler was pretty ordinary, didn't offer a whole lot. Ham,
but he wasn't bad either.
No, he wasn't horrible, but
like Zaharakis was bad.
Zaharakis. How could I forget my little ponytail friend?
I'll throw that at you.
My little top knot friend.
Bring that.
Not a ponytail.
again, explain to me why he's picked over Guelphy. Why not go for the 22-year-old or 23, whatever Guelphy is, who's similar size, similar role, like
It has a hell of a lot of upside.
yeah,
Yeah.
and who I think we can, as we've seen moments like that game when he came on from the sub game where he
Which was
played
against
really good football.
GWS,
Yeah.
ironically.
And you go, well, why isn't he the guy? What I have no Zaharak's been the sub, that's fine, but he doesn't. I don't understand. I don't get it.
Yeah, and it's no disrespect to the guy because he is a. Sorry, turn your phone on mute, kids. He was drafted in 2008, made his debut in 2009, kicked one of the most memorable goals of an Essendon player ever.
Iconic goals.
But yeah, you're right. He right at this point in time is not offering a lot in that side. He had 10 touches. He did kick a goal, but yeah, 2 tackles, like.
It's just he spits the ball out. He just doesn't. I don't know.
The epitome of what that kind of player should be is Will Snelling.
Yeah.
I'll go back a little bit to the positives. Snell had 20 touches. He laid 6 tackles. He got a couple of clearances as well. Like, you're not a high possession player, but you can still have a bloody impact on the game. And that goes for Waller, that goes for Zaharakis, and it goes for Hooker a little bit. Just do the shit you can do. Have the impact you can have. You don't have to get a lot of the ball. You can just... Smith as well is in that conversation.
Yep.
You can make the tackle. You can stick the goddamn tackle. Jeez, we're shocking at that.
Oh, yeah, we still look weak. Like, we look like an undersized club. A lot of the clubs just push us away and, break tackles.
The last little one for me is Ham. He started well. He was very lively. I reckon he had 3 or 4 of his 9 touches in the first 5 minutes, and then that was it. And that was it.
See, I don't understand the Ham choice over Guelphy either. I'm more of a Guelphy fan.
Yeah, and Guelph can do a lot of different areas too. He's far more utility because of his size. He's a bit bigger.
Not that I want, and see, in the perfect world, I don't want either of them in the side. I don't think either of them are best 22 personally.
I think Guelphy has more of a role to play than Ham, but Ham seems to be a little bit of a favourite of Truck, perhaps.
That's fair enough. It really depends on when all our players are back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, just wrapping up a little bit.
Yeah.
We're not going to make finals now. That's out of the question. That's probably a good thing. I think even Truck said in his presser that
it is a good thing,
we're just making numbers up, even if we do make it, which is entirely accurate.
Yep.
Even if we'd kicked a couple of goals late and won this game, the feeling still wouldn't be very good for where we're at.
And we've got Sydney who are playing very good football and the Dogs playing very good football. So we could get touched in the next couple of games.
Yes. Can't wait. Now, I want to introduce a new little segment here.
Oh.
Yep. On the fly.
Professionalism shining right through. How you haven't told me.
Yep. On the fly too. I just thought of it. Can we, in this, predict the changes? So when we chat on Thursday night, we've got a little bit of something like, we thought this, but this happened, and the people can either think we're great or think we're complete nuffies. Yeah. We predict the result. Why not predict the changes?
Yeah, that's a good idea. I like
it. Yeah.
Well, first of all, there were no injuries from the game, were there?
Not that I'm aware of.
Because that's obviously the easiest ones to pick us out.
Yeah, that's nice and simple, yeah.
And then it becomes like who played well in the VFL is another thing. Again, for me, it was Francis. I'll tell you who else was. We won't go into it, but Rance was all right too.
That's another day.
Waterman was okay. Hurd, I really liked. Because you've got to think about these guys pushing for selection. Who goes out? To be honest, I know it'd be unlucky, but Redmond for Francis. If Francis is not playing forward, then that's for me a role that I don't like what Redmond's doing. But if Francis is a forward, then would you take Francis for, here we go, Tip and Woody?
Well, who plays the small forward role?
Well, it doesn't really matter. No one does the role anyway when they're there. I don't think you can take Francis for hooker because you'd have to. Well, then, see, the thing is, and this is part of the problem, is that I reckon Wright can play that role, but he gets drawn up to be the ruckman
Yep.
too much.
Yep.
So, and Hooker does a little bit of rucking in
the
that
forward line, yeah.
in the forward
But
50.
Wright could do
not,
that if Wright was that forward.
Yeah, Wright could do the forward 50, but who's going to cover Draper? And it's not going to be Francis.
No.
Could you do someone? Could you get away with a Langford or a Coxmore?
Who
are we playing?
Sydney.
Sydney. Yeah, they've got a pretty good ruckman.
All right, I'm gonna rush you here a little bit.
Oh, sorry.
So ins and outs.
Oh, yeah, there was a question, wasn't it? I just went on.
Yeah, you did tangent.
Okay, for me, ins and outs, it's Ham out for Francis, and that's it.
Okay.
Actually, no, Ham and Hurd and Francis in for Ham and Tip and Woody.
Okay, is Hurd even AFL listed? That's a silly question, possibly.
I don't care.
But I don't want
I
to
don't
sound
care,
like
Sam.
complete nuffies if he's not. Langford, I'm assuming won't play. He's still 2 to 3 weeks or 1 to 2 weeks away.
No, said he'd be right for this week, to be honest.
Well, last week he was 2 to 3 weeks on the AFL website. That's all I'm.
Yeah,
basing
don't
it
trust
off.
the AFL website, mate.
I will go with Ham and Zaharakis out for Guelphy and maybe Waterman. If they're going to bring Francis in, I think it will be for Hooker, but I don't see that happening.
The problem I have with can Guelphy come in if he didn't play any football at all because he didn't play in the VFL.
He might be fresh.
Yeah, but you know they don't like.
But they didn't have VFL all last year, so I mean, like you can do it.
I agree with what you're saying. I mean, I think Guelphy should be in the side.
All right. If
Zaharakis should be out. Yeah, you're probably better at this than me.
I had more time to think about it, to be fair.
Yeah. Zaharakis and Ham, I agree.
Excuse me. We'll revisit that when we talk. We are playing Friday night too, so we're going to have a bit of pressure to get that out on Thursday night. So
yeah, we could do that. Right. Have a late night Thursday, maybe sit up till like 8 o'clock.
Yeah, 8:30 at the latest. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, we were shit.
We were. Just we still love the club.
Of course.
Don't think otherwise.
God, yeah, and you can be love. Sometimes in love, you can be very disappointed.
More disappointed than there's not.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Good. Right. Well, thank you
Over
for listening.
and out, buddy.
If you've made it this far, again, hit that subscribe button. We'd really love it.
And thanks, Truck, for listening again.
Chuck, thank you. Yeah, and we'll chat to you on Thursday.